Hello and welcome to our online format, MediaNet Games International Introduces, where we shine a digital spotlight on interesting games companies live from the games capital Berlin. Today, we introduce ByteRockers Games, who are gracing us with a panel of 5 amazing speakers for this hour. Namely, we have with us here Maik Reichelt, CEO, Jan Halwe, who is a business development manager, Benjamin Reichel, who is community manager and marketing manager, Ramona Meyer, who is also a marketing manager, and Maximilian Graustein, who is also a marketing manager at ByteRockers Games. ByteRockers have been around for quite a while and started out in 2008. Since then, they have made it their mission to release games that haven't been seen before, placing no limits on themselves or their imagination when it comes to new releases. Relatively recently, they announced that they are becoming a publisher, and we want to hear more about this venture and many more stories from their over 15 years in business. Our moderator, who else could it be, is the magnificent André Bernhardt, and he will lead us through this conversation about the studio's history, their successes and challenges, and their future plans. Before we start, I have a few short words and want to thank our partners. medianet Games International is a program of medianet Berlin-Brandenburg, whose network reaches beyond the games industry, connecting Berlin's and Brandenburg's media, creative, and digital industry to create meaningful connections and facilitate interdisciplinary synergies. The project is financed by the European Union through its European Regional Development Fund and the State of Berlin, namely the Senate Department of Economics, Energy and Public Enterprises, through its program for internationalization. Please make sure to follow our social media channels and find podcast episodes, event information, and the newsletter on our website at medianet-games.international. And now, without further delay, please welcome our wonderful host, André, and our guests. Take it away, André.
Happy to have you all here. Happy to have everyone from ByteRockers here, but also happy to have the audience here. Now you know myself, but I think it's the first time that so many people of a studio showed up. So we need to start a little introduction round. Because there are so many of you, maybe try to keep your background quite short or briefly. Otherwise, it might take too long to get an introduction. So let us know again who you are, what are you doing, and maybe how did you come to ByteRockers and how long you are there. Anyone wants to go ahead?
I can go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, let's start with me and go down the list to the CEO at last, I think. That sounds reasonable, right? Hi, I'm Maxi. I'm one of the marketing managers here at ByteRockers Games. And I've been doing marketing in the games industry for 5 years now. So got a little bit under my belt. Yeah, I think that's the quick introduction. If we got more time later on, you're going to figure out more about myself.
Thanks. Great to have you here.
Yeah, then I can introduce myself too. Hi, I'm Benny or Benjamin. I'm now for 4 years at ByteRockers Games, starting as a part-time job next to the university, and then starting with full-time as a community and marketing manager. Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Great to have you here.
Right, so I will just go next. My name is Mona. I've been with ByteRockers for roughly 7 to 8 months, so I'm pretty new. I also do 2D art and some marketing artist stuff, so I'm very happy to be here, and I will also give over to my colleague Jan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mona. Yes, my name is Jan. I'm a business development manager at ByteRockers Games, almost 1 year in the company now. And mostly working remotely for the team from the south of Hamburg. So I'm currently not in Berlin, but I regularly, join the team on multiple occasions. And yeah, I've got just a good decade's worth of industry experience at publishers, investors, and at ByteRockers Games. I'm mostly responsible for pitching our own projects to other publishers, but also scouting games for us as a publisher. So this is already the first interesting tidbit. But also just taking care of enabling partnerships on a business level and managing those, whether it's like distribution, porting, or anything else. And I support our lovely marketeers wherever I can. And sending it off to our CEO, Maik.
Thanks a lot, Jan. Maik.
Hi. Yes, last but not least, I'm Maik. I'm the CEO from ByteRockers Games. I was hired as a marketing manager too 9 years ago. But about 18 months ago, Martin asked me after a lot of ups and downs if I want to become the CEO. And yeah, I take the chance and hopefully I make a good job here.
Perfect. So all you marketing managers out there, you know, next step will be taking over CEO position sooner or later. No, just kidding. Maik is doing a great job. A video says more than 1,000 words, and I think it would be nice to take a first look at the stuff that you're currently working on before we are talking about all the games that you did before. Let's get you all hyped up. And Florian, you can't see him, but I know he's in the back somewhere. Do some magic, push the buttons, and let us see the trailer of NetHack. Here we go. See? Yes. Applause, applause. Thanks a lot, NetAttack, so far. But a little cliffhanger before we come back to this title. Let's talk about some other stuff first. Maik, you just briefly mentioned before that you are not the founder of this studio or ByteRockers, but that one is Martin Knauf, who's not with us.
Yeah, he's on
I'm
holiday.
curious.
So sorry for that.
Lucky him, I would say. But usually when I talk to the people here, most of the time it's the founders who are still heading the CEO position. But when I looked up on your homepage and checked out a bit more about all the wonderful people that are working at ByteRockers, I did discover he works there as a programmer. So he stepped down and gave over the responsibility to you, or how do we have to imagine that the founder is working as a programmer at the company right now?
Yeah, okay. I've tried to answer it very short because the story should have enough for a 30 minutes monologue. So, like you said, Martin Knauf is our founder and owner of ByteRockers Games since 2008 now, because he worked for a company as a developer. So he was hired as a normal progger for a company that, yeah, the name I won't mention. In 2007, and just to say, it wasn't great time. It wasn't a great time there. Crunch time, Excel cowboys, and all the usual horror stories were part of his life. And so he decides, and he has the chance, of course, if you Google him, he has the money to found his own company with a very clear vision to develop commercial competitive games under best possible working conditions, I would say, something like this. At Classic, it's Classic because it starts with 2 people in a basement. So they sit or 3, and he has a progger, 1 artist, I think, and 1 game designer or something like that. And now today we have nearly 40 employees, but the biggest development happened in the last 5 years. So there comes a time, it was me, that when I entered the company, 9 years ago, like I said, and I recognized, okay, Martin in his core, he's still a passionate programmer and also a very nice gaming nerd, one of the biggest nerds I've ever met. And as I mentioned, he just wanted a company like this, so with this vision, and he made it happen. So the start, but eventually, that there comes this moment where he see an opportunity to shift back, focus more on his programming, on the pure development of games, because he have a lot of other companies to lead and so on. So, but this is his passion, and we talk a lot of years together and change and make a lot of change together, and it's still so that the most important plans we discuss together, he and me. So he's also, and again, in every decision, but yes, he wants to follow his dream, and it's a simple dream. He wants to program with a team, concentrate full time to develop a game, but wait for this moment. And thanks for that, Martin, on this way to give it in someone's hands where he think, okay, maybe he's the right one and can realize my vision. And I try my best for this. So that's why he's the owner. He's also in every decision, but most of the time he's really a normal programmer.
Okay. But don't tell the other thousands of indie developers that it's a simple dream that he wants to achieve, because they're everyone is
To be
struggling.
honest, it's more simple for all of you who wants to create his own the own company and so on. As a programmer, you can focus on one project, on these problems, on this daily life problems and so on. As a CEO from a company, you make 1,000 things that don't have anything to do with developing. And that's what I want to say. So don't misunderstand me.
So you're taking care if the coffee machine is running empty and there are no more beans, your challenge is between 1,000.
Okay, yeah, or about contracts, about millions of euro or something like that, or a coffee machine, yeah.
Just to get the numbers straight, I'm not sure whether I understood it perfectly. When was ByteRockers founded then in the end? It was
2008. It was 2008.
Ah, yeah, okay.
So it's heavy that we are in the 17th year now.
Yeah.
It's history, but like I said, the first 5 years, I would say it was classic, really indie style. They're sitting there in this basement, like I said, and in a small team of 3 or 4 people. And then there comes the first mobile game. It was, oh my God, some endless runner thing. And then you see, okay, maybe it's time to grow the team a little bit. And as I entered the company 9 years ago, it was about 10 people in this company, and Defense was just released. That was the best, greatest, and last mobile game we've ever met.
Okay.
That was one of my decisions, for example, to set Martin on a business way. You will have never ever success with this company if you make mobile games.
So you switched over to PC only it is right now, or consoles as well?
No, it's not right. On PCs, that's our main working stations. So it's obvious that we see that the game is running on PCs. But that's also could be a long version and a long discussion. What is better, Steam or the other platforms? But we released games on any platform. We port for ourselves on any platform. So no, we start every time on PC, like many other, but then we port our games for ourselves or with partners on any platforms.
Before we started the stream, we were already joking like the company consists only of a CEO and 3 marketing managers. It's just like how many people are working now at the company, and tell us a bit more about how many coders or artists you get. How's the company structured?
To make it as easy as possible, maybe last thing I would say, my colleagues know this better, but I would say around 1/3 progger, 1/3 of artist, and 1/3 of the rest. Or what would you say?
Yeah, don't worry, I checked that one. Actually because I'm prepared. It still rough numbers because we're hiring people right now because we're developing new games. But currently roughly 10 programmers, 14 artists, 6 game designers, level designers, etc., as producers, and you can see the marketing team here.
Yeah.
1 team assistant and 1 CEO.
Yeah.
At ByteRockers Games.
And you are sitting, when you move, I can see that you are sitting in the back of Mona. Is that right? Somehow?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay, got it. So how's the situation with the studio and the home office today? I mean, we all got struck by the pandemic somehow, and I guess most of you moved to the home office. How is your policy regarding? Do people need to come back? Are they free to come back? Are they willingly coming back into the office?
I mean, we have we have a huge variety. For example, I'm at home, but I'm living in Berlin, so we have a mobile working schedule. Like you can go 2 times a week or more if you want, but at minimum 2 days a week in the office and working there. Or for example, we also have some colleagues are working only from home, doing home office, like Jan, for example, living next to Hamburg, I think it was. Yeah, so we have we try to adapt for every of our colleagues to make it possible to get into the best situation. For example, you have families, you need to be home for some time. Then we try to figure out what's best for the people and the company. And so we have a lot of different instruments to do it. Yeah.
And we also, I mean, we have core working hours set up where everybody should be available in theory, but we also allow people to work, slightly outside of those hours if it's more convenient for them, or if they're like a night owl and more active at night and more productive at night, that's also no problem. Even though we even have, I mean, we have quite the nice office, I have to say, even though I only visit it, every other month or so. It's in Steglitz, so in the southern west part of Berlin. And we talked to another Berlin-based studio earlier who's fully remote. They even asked us if they could rent, some space for us from us, because we do still have some space available. So that might also be interesting for other folks working in Berlin, because we love a good crowd. We love connecting with folks. So yeah, why not?
Yes.
It's a little bit funny because we moved to our new office with 1,000 square meters on, I think, September 19th.
I see
So
where this is going.
everybody is happy. Then came Corona, and since that we never come back to the situation as full. But we learned, we just worked at this time to Corona on Insurmountable, our greatest success till now. And we finished this game, released this game, and see, okay, we can remote work. But it was very important for us to show and to see that human connections are lost between also the company and the teams itself. It feels normal, right, with working like Jan or other remoteler, because we need these people. They have good skills and so on. It's a good thing to have this in a company, but we try to connect in real life as often as we can, the colleagues, because it's part of the stream, which I talked about to the beginning. What are the best working conditions? Best working conditions can't be you sit alone 40, 50 hours a week in your room. Maybe for us, it's more. It's working together as real people, as human, and not only programs or something like that.
Yeah, got it. You're working, you are quite some people now. Before we're talking about your former portfolio, how does it work right now? Are you all working on one? Are you working at one title at a time only, or is the team split up in, I don't know, into a porting team and one team working on original IP and stuff?
We have now we have 3 teams working on 3 different projects, and then we have four. Sorry. Oh, huge mistake. But we have 4 teams with 4 different projects. And then next to the 4 teams who are working on their own projects, we have the marketing team, and Jan, part of the marketing team and business developer, was working with the publishers, with the other companies. We publish them and do the publishing works together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the times are long gone where you just worked where the whole team worked on one title, but you stepped over to like working on separate titles at a time now. Yeah, maybe let's take a look at your portfolio and the stuff that you did so far, because yeah, for those people who are not, or for the people in the audience who are not familiar with the portfolio, it's quite some genres that you already developed games for. I mean, how did that come? Or maybe we start. Let's tell us the story about the first game that you were working on, maybe the mobile days then. Still something that you remember, or is all?
Yeah, I have to. I think I have to answer because the other are not long enough in the company. So, and also, I'm now only 9 years in this company. So there was a time before me. I also noticed as stories, but a long time. Martin Knauf has the idea that you can't create creativity with pressure, or just talk about, yeah, there's a good game, let's copy that just with a twist or something like that. A lot of games make this, so, and it's okay. Some of them have success, some not. Some of them, like these trash games we see, that make it bad. So when a good game comes out, like we see this on PUBG or Vampire Survivor, half a year later there are hundreds of games on the market and they copy the same game. So Martin's way was not this way. So he said, okay, just sit there, and again, it is on this vision, like the best working conditions. Because if I tell to a team, maybe from 5 guys, let's make a game that was successful in the last year, and we make a similar game and so on, and they hate this idea, you can bet on it that they don't give 100%. You have a lot of discuss that, okay, please make some overtime today, or please let us make this finish, even if it's Friday on 6 p.m. or something like that. But if the idea comes out of the team, then they work as hell. One of my jobs, except the coffee machine, that was not funny, was or is again and again to say, people, please make a stop. So please make a break. You don't have to work. Hey, please, Maik, it's okay. I like it. So that's a motivation thing on the one hand. But on the other side, there's a problem because people come and go. There are companies where we have now, I think, 4 or 5 people that are longer in the company than 10 years. We have a lot of young people, and maybe after 2 years they change. So every time you change a team, every time you make another another team for maybe, okay, we have now more money to invest. They have another idea, and some of them said, oh yeah, let's make a jump and run, or let's make a tactical game, or let's make this one. So it's a little bit confusing. But I think in the last 2 or 3 years, we found our niche. We have stable teams, and the people are now maybe, I'd say, 5 years are in this company, and so they find their ways. And if you see like our last games, it starts with Insurmountable. I think this is the most obvious thing. After this, there comes Beat Slayer. It was a great part of the team from Insurmountable, and you see this in also the roguelike elements and so on. We said, okay, yeah, we are so good, we have so much learning in roguelike, so it's a roguelike again. And now we make Net Attack, and it's again a roguelike game. So Solnox is a roguelike game. So okay, we're getting better and better there. But that's a reality. If you fire some artists and some new coming, and they have a totally different style, then you make a little bit strange looking game. Maybe if you compare Net Attack and Solnox, from the graphic style, it can't be more different. So that's the idea. But we try to learn from every game, and so we're getting better and better in our niche. We develop enormously fast. Net Attack we create from the idea to the release in about 1 year. 10 years ago, for the first mobile game Befend, it depends over 2.5 years or something like that. Today, I would say we make this in 6 months.
Okay, so the production pipeline is now set up, and this works all works out well. But talking about the creative process, when you talk like, okay, now with Insurmountable, or beginning with Insurmountable, you found more like your specialization within the roguelites or roguelike somehow. How did you end up with like choosing the mountain as a topic. Yeah, you know, there's a hill or mountain climbing topic as well. And also, how did the team come up with the idea of focusing more on roguelikes? Do you do some internal game jams, or it is just creative brainstorm meetings? How do we have to imagine how this works out?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah, I can take that one. So here at ByteRockers Games, which is one of the things I love, is that every time a game is finished, we're done with it, it's goal release, and we already are set with everything that we can do for the game. We do a pitching session. So every single person here in the company, doesn't matter if it's a developer, if it's an artist, if it's a marketeer like myself, we can work out a pitch for a game that we think, hey, this idea should work on the market. This idea makes a lot of fun. We can pitch that to the other, all of our other colleagues, and tell them, hey, do you think this could be something that we can develop? And then we decide, hey, this works, this doesn't work. We don't have enough artists for that one. We don't have enough progress for that one. And that is the whole consideration process that we go through to find new ideas that we want to develop.
It's the imaginary part. And the real world part is, okay, how much will this idea cost us? So what's the idea of the development plan? That's why our games are getting more and more smaller about the years. I would say our most expensive game was Beat Slayer, you know? And now actually we can build 3 games for the price of 1, but we see this compares on the market situation. The market really shifted to a strange situation where small games are performing much better than expensive games and so on. So also we jump on this train and try to figure out with the help of the marketeers. That's why it's so important. Okay, we have an idea. Just go through the internet to the world, see if the games like this, how they perform, what the community is like and what's not. And then at the end, Martin and I came with a sentence they hate. Everyone hates this in this company. Okay, can we say we are the world's first? That was a sentence. And if this answer is yes, so is Insurmountable the first roguelike where you climb alone on a mountain? Yes, it is. Is Beat Slayer the first rhythm-based hack and slay? Yes, it is. Is Net Attack the first Vampire Survivor, I don't know if it is the right name, where you code your own attacks? Yes, it is. And so all of our games have these 3 ideas. Anyone can pitch any idea. Then we check out, okay, is it possible? Make sense for us to realize this. And in the end, is there such a sentence? Then we start the development. And this is the idea also Martin has 17 years ago now, because not the highest people in the company have the best idea. Often the lower ones.
I think that's a very good approach, but how do we have to imagine, like, is there then this pitching day where like the brave people step up with the ideas that they worked on, or it's just like, I don't know, anytime someone can pitch anything, or how does this work out?
It's more of a time frame, because we have time left or time between the release of the older game and when we want to start the development of a new game. And in this time frame, we can pitch the games, make all of these decisions. And most of the time, we also do game jams here in the company, depending on how many new games we're developing. We're also doing respective game jams. And some of these ideas can also be taken for developing new games. So many ways how we can find creative new ideas.
Okay. Yes, sounds good. I mean, I think it's a very good approach to make sure that the people are actually liking what they're working on. I mean, there will always be, you can't make everyone happy, I guess, but at least if everyone has the chance to deliver his or her idea to the crowd and be successful in convincing them, that's a quite good approach.
We steal this idea from Ralph.
Yeah.
Ralph makes this since years now. Yes, it's
But
honest. Let's be talk honest here, so that the people see more what's really happened behind the scenes. So this way is a lot of companies ask us, why don't you develop Insurmountable 2? I mean,
yeah,
it's your most successful game. It's obvious. No, it isn't. I don't give you the names of game that try this way, and they fail much harder than they have thought, because you think, okay, now we know what's best in this game. We make the second one with even more money. We spend more money. We have better ideas. It look better. It's greater. More features. Blah 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 blah. And then it falls down. Like I said 5 minutes ago, you can't take the calculator and say, oh my God, this should happen. Maybe EA or something like this that can develop games on this way, but even they often now see the reality that the people have so many games they can play. They have so many games they can spend their money. They see something special, something that touches them. Maybe from the good old times in the 80s or 90s, where games are not looking so good, but they touch you on a way. They said this €5, bam, no question about it. But these $20 for a game, oh, I don't know. So it's the idea why we have built more and more teams. Like I said, when I come in this company, we have one team with 10 people. Now we
yeah.
have 4 teams, and looking forward 2026 for the 5th team. And then the other games also come to it, but we decide want to publish. So we have so many
That
games that we cooperate now.
that would have been my next question. Like, okay, it's not enough that you're developing like 4 teams at the same time internally. Now you're also stepping into the publishing business and publishing some titles of other studios. How did this idea came up?
Yes. So, I mean, we are even though we are opening up this publishing business of ours, we're still first and foremost a development studios. And in
Yeah,
our 17-year history, we've gone through a lot. And we also see that a lot of studios, especially now in the market conditions that we're facing, they have the same struggles as us. How do you
yeah,
stand out? How can you be successful? And we strongly believe in building good and hopefully long-term partnerships that have helped us. For example, Insurmountable, of course, a majority of the success also needs to be contributed to Daedalic Entertainment, our publishing partner for that game. And I think also Maik, since he comes from the movie industry, typically a movie doesn't get made before at least, X amount of parties come together, finance it, produces, write a script and everything, get the actors on board. And so for us, we saw like, hey, you're struggling, but you're working on something cool. But you might not get a publisher, or the deals that publishers are offering nowadays, because of course they need to be conscious about what they're spending, how much marketing they're putting on projects. And that's, in the past 2 years, it was very hard to get a publishing deal and whatnot. And we said, like, we know your struggle. We are in a very luxurious position that we can offer you even some development financing, and that's very important for us to have this financial contribution, because otherwise we could just say like, oh yeah, we'll take your game, we'll throw some
yeah.
marketing onto it. No, but it's important that also we have basically a foot or a stake in the game, and we can provide a fair basis of collaboration there. And as you can see, we've brought a lot of marketeers, as we like to call them. So we are excited about marketing games as much as we are about developing games. And so we have the capacity to not only finance these other games and provide them with feedback and whatnot, but also to create a marketing plan, to execute it. And it actually helps me as well, since I'm doing the business partnerships, because the more content we have, hopefully at least we believe, the easier it will be to also improve our platform relationships with,
Yeah.
Steam, with the console platforms, with distribution partners. So also talking about good old games, the Epic Game Store. And it's part of our diversification strategy. Because if you look back at Beat Slayer, the game had quite a sizable production budget for
Yeah.
companies such as ours. But everyone can also see that commercially, there is the success missing. And if you spend 2.5, 3 years only working on one project, and maybe, bringing out a project every 2 or 3 years, you're highly dependent on the success of that singular project. But now that we're taking multiple shots with, smaller project sizes, but also with third-party titles, we can make a lot more noise just on a base level when it comes to revenue, but also we have more chances at success. And ideally, once we start working with the team, one of the first ones now is Spaceflower from Nuremberg, Germany, working on Let Them Trade. If that goes well, ideally, we already know how the other side works. We can go to the next one, which is, of course, the typical publisher life cycle. And so for us, it was kind of the natural progression, even though it seems like we're doing a lot. But like I mentioned also in my introduction, we're also still pitching our own projects to publishers that are just bigger than us, right?
Okay, that would have been the question, whether you are focusing now on publishing only, but you're still looking for some of your titles for external publishers then as well. Sounds like a bit like a Ringtausch or something to me.
Yeah. But
sorry, maybe I don't want to interrupt you, Jan, but that's surprises me often, even in the last month, because it's again not our idea. Like I said, the last 3 or 4 years have shown that the market has changed significantly. So more and more developers are forming networks or something like that, that are far more powerful than a traditional offering just marketing. Like Jan said, there's no dev budget or something like that. We give you about 10K marketing. My game development costs are 1 million. So that's for unfair deal and so on. And that comes from the past. We just make a cooperation, a co-publishing with PDF. So, but like I read last week, they publish now or help to publish a Lose Control. So again, they work with us. And our games are simple, more expensive. So if I help maybe Spaceflower, we decide to help Spaceflower to publish them and make a deal that really is simply fair. So that's the idea. Just act to fair collaborations. Then we have games like Solnox. You can see this in the foundation. That costs about 700, 800,000, 1 million or something like that. Lose Control, I don't know, but I can imagine that this is way much smaller. And also the other games we talked about. So the idea is not it's a circle. It is simply they are so small that they have two options often. We were ripped off from publishers because horrible deals, or we just die. We try to put it on the market, and then you are also 99% to die. So, and that's after years. I also talk again to 100s of publishers this way. Former times, we decide with the power of Martin and the fantasy of Martin that he said, Michael, just help really small ones. We are the middle ones, but there are also obvious stronger ones. So for more investment, and it comes from the movie, from a movie past. It's totally normal. If you start a movie, 7 production companies come there before the movie starts. So why don't we do this? And you see in this Triple I initiative, for example, it happens. It happens since 2 years more and more again. They're creating networks, collaborations, and so on. And I would lovely work with the publisher together. We work with Daedalic together. But like I said, Insurmountable costs about 1.5 million euro. So now that's so much money. The risk is so high that we want lovely to have a strong partnership. But if you are small, if you are too small, there's zero chance that you get a fair partnership. And so we have the idea, maybe we can give you this fair partnership.
So maybe then name it, from my point of view, more like an aggregator, where you are gathering forces to bring it up to a higher level where there are even bigger fish still around, something like that.
Of course, on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's possible. We see this every day that a game maybe that costs only about 250,000 euro make 1 million euro. So it's a big win. On the other side, we go out with maybe Solnox that costs over 1 million euro, make also maybe 200,000, 300,000 euro, but in the end, it's a loss about 700,000 euro. So there's some kind of maybe diversification or something like that, called on this way, collaboration on network skills, and we learn from each other, we help from each other. And I missed that the last 9 years very often from a publisher side. Even the bigger the publisher get, the worse it will be, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally understand that. We mentioned that sometimes before that like the market has changed meanwhile. Yeah? A lot of things are different than it used to be when, I don't know, when indie development start getting bigger and everything. I mean, you already mentioned like this change, like your development process that you're saying like, okay, we're not putting all eggs in one box, but we are setting up several projects at the same time. As we have so many marketing expertise over here, how did the marketing process change for you for the games that you publish? Maybe you can elaborate a bit on this, whether you are, I don't know, still relying on printed ads or whether it's TikTok only. What's the new thing that you're working on or with?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool that we have a lot of projects at the same time and working on them. It's a huge workload, of course, and we have a big marketing team for that. And yeah, it's cool that we have, for example, different genres and can evaluate the beats we are trying to achieve for the different games with each game, and can look, for example, some Twitter ads or X ads are working really good for a game like Let 'em Trade, but they're not really good for example, Net Attack. It's really good that we have these kind of information in-house so we can adapt it on on other projects and learning a lot from them. Yeah.
So are you so okay, on the one hand there's paid marketing, you're using ads and stuff. Is that what separates you from the typical indie developer then these days, which mostly rely on social media, which they can't pay? I mean, like trying to get something viral and also attend like conferences. Is that something that could separate you then from the smaller indies, I would say?
I mean, one of our biggest standpoints or hot points from ByteRockers Games is our experience, because founded in 2008,
yes, right.
we have a lot of experience. We're collecting a lot of experience about over a huge variety of games, and that's one of our hot standing points. Yeah, and of course we're working with different participation of the community, getting the community into the games with, for example, beta tests or some early releases of demo games, and so we can have a lot of experience working with either communities or with playtests and getting a lot of different approaches to these kind of games. Yeah.
I can also add something to that, if that's fine, André.
Absolutely, that's why we're here.
Yeah, I mean, Benny already mentioned that experience is probably one of the main drivers that differentiates us from the typical indie, because we've tried out so many things. We went to so many conventions, we did so many Steam showcases, events, we tried out different demos. How do we create a good demo that gives proper feedback and gets proper wish lists? How do we plan our exhibitions properly? What do we need? Do we need anything that we can give out? Do we need a brochure? All of that stuff is normally not in the mind of a typical indie just developing his or their game. It's just, okay, I want to do a cool game. I have a cool idea. I want to get that game out and maybe pitch it to some publishers and maybe create a social media account that might not even get the proper audience because you're doing it on Instagram instead of itch or IndieDB or X, whatever. So, and I think that's what makes us very different from the usual indie.
And what's the thing that is working best for you at the moment? Would you say, like you mentioned before before we started on stream, that you're preparing for PAX which one is the next coming up?
East.
PAX East. You're preparing right now for PAX East, so you have a booth on the show floor.
Yes.
Do you think like trade shows like Gamescom, PAX, and so on, it's just like it's a very strong driver of sales or wish list numbers, or do you think like no, but we also need to focus on influencers? What's the thing where you see still some growth at this time?
So most of the time, it's not really attending these events to
Yeah.
be there, but to get the Steam event. Because
Okay.
being on Steam and being in a Steam event has so much outreach, way
Yeah.
more outreach than a proper exhibition can have, because you're limited to 300 people that can come to your booth on a weekend. On Steam, you have millions of people that just casually scroll through it and can find your game when you're in a big event.
Yeah.
So that is probably the biggest thing that gives wish lists to us. And knowing which of these events are the good ones and which aren't is also a process.
How important for you as a studio is it to be located in Berlin? Would you say a lot of your experience, or you benefited quite a lot of having the exchange with other people making games with the ecosystem of the games capital Berlin, or would you say no? It could also be Bielefeld, or I don't know. We could also be located in Mannheim or whatever.
Simply no.
No.
No, just kidding. No, it's part of our history that's one reason why we are sitting in Berlin, because we have a rent contract for about 10 years for the new office and so on. And yeah, Martin
Written in
has
blood or something.
yeah, when you see the prices
Yeah.
for offices, then yeah. No, but to be honest, Martin live in Berlin, so
Yeah.
he wants to go to the office. I think he's 3, 4, maybe sometimes 5 days a week in this office. He likes to share ideas with people and so on. So it was never a question for him that he have one office in Berlin near to his home. But if anything works quite well, we are looking forward to have other offices and so on. There are possibilities maybe with also again foundations. Spain have really nice offers here to take 50% of your developing costs, but you must have offers on what was it? Lanzarote, Tenerife, or something like that. It's not the worst place for working. And oh yeah, also other companies, but we will see how is it going with the remote work here. So
Yeah.
I think as long as ByteRockers Games exist, we will have an office in Berlin, a smaller one for sure. But if there's if there's a success and we have more offices and so on, it's obvious that a second one or a third one, not in Berlin. It could be all around the world, on a warmer place maybe, or a more sunny place.
And you are actually hiring right now, you mentioned.
Often we hired all over the year
Yeah,
because people
okay.
come, people go. Um, that's normal if you work so long in a company. So yes, I would say, guys, um, you make these job offers. So I think you know more than me.
Yeah.
I think you said it. Usually we hire people. Most of the time, we have so many initiatives. Okay, what is the name?
In the
Applications.
morning we have 80. I checked this
Yeah.
today in the morning, and we have 80 people who write us who that want to work for us. Okay, a lot
Yeah.
of them are too young and so on, because we have a lot of young people in this company, and you need some seniors or regulars. But actually, I would say for 2025, it looks good. If the people don't leave us, So we hire not so much, but if it's then a good year or it's becoming a good year, like I said, we want to open a fifth team in 2026, and there we hire about 5, 6, 7 people at once. So we will search for programmer, artists, or what a team need, and yeah, it goes on me. So we open 2 teams and more and more and more. It depends on the success we have with the actual one.
And maybe also to add, I mean, since we have a long history in Berlin, we can also say that the infrastructure for the games industry is quite good. It's quite a good location. I think Berlin is definitely in the top 3 when it comes to it. You know, not, shortening the efforts that are done here in Hamburg as well. But I mean, we also, yeah, we received serial funding from the Median Board, actually, which we're quite happy about and quite thankful. We are working closely with the School of Games. We're working with the Games Academy, which is where we're drawing also a lot of our talents. And it's great that Berlin is such a hot melting pot of just different cultures and different people coming from everywhere. And we see this, of course, with the wars that are happening or people now wanting to emigrate out of the US. I think Berlin is one of the easier places to settle down for those expats, where you can also get a lot of expertise. And also we have amazing and cool events such as Games Ground, where we just love to support them and also exhibit, because it's part of our culture. And when we say we have these ambitions, not only being a studio but also publisher, we also are trying to give back to all of these institutions that are helping us, and we're helping them.
Yeah. Before we time is running so fast. Before we come to the audience question, just another thing from my or another question of mine regarding the you mentioned that you had a lot. I mean, you have a lot of experience, yeah, with the team being around for this long amount of time. It's sure that you learned some stuff, and you gratefully already shared with us like your new strategic approach, where you say like, we are developing more titles at a time and not too many, not focusing on one project only. But besides of that, what would you say are the other biggest learnings that you could say like that could be helpful for new aspiring developers out there watching us right now?
Number 1 is always get a lawyer.
Yes, very good. 2 is if you have an idea of the scope of your game, take the half of it and then take the half of it, because not one time in this 9 year I see these white swan, or like I said, not the bad way, so that it happens. Oh, we have finished the game and still have time or money. And I see this so often, and it's also really without any joke. When we talk to the smaller indie developer, we said this at the first meeting. So what's your idea? And you have to be prepared that I take you the half of your idea away, because a lot of young people think, oh, in my maybe study time or in my with my buddies in the private room, it works so good. It's a whole different thing if you make this as a business. There comes so many problems on you, but one of the biggest that breaks your neck is the scope of your game. Again and again and again. It happens in the 17 years we made this year over 10 times.
Yeah.
Easy.
I totally second that, and I feel that as well. It's like time estimates. This never works out. Even with more experience, then maybe you get more experienced margin of error, but still, it's like it's really hard to nail it somehow, especially when you're starting out. Yeah, time is running short. There's a question from the audience. How hard was it for Martin to realize he wanted to focus on programming over leading the company, and how hard, easy was it to let go? Would be the best question for him, I guess, but maybe.
No, I think I would say it was a long time. He gave it after 15 years of leading the company, but he asked me 2 times before I said yes. 2 times I said no, because I don't feel ready. I talk often, and he talk often to all of the colleagues that are working longer in the company. If you have the trustment, is it the right feeling, and so on. So it's not he wake up and said, okay, I have no I see no future for me as a CEO or something like that. And on any time, that's my contract. So I'm hired as a CEO. He can say and wake up tomorrow and said, I hate you, so you're fired, and I have no chance. And then he's back in the game. But yeah, we made this now since 1.5 years. And like I said, we talk at minimum one time a week together for everything. So he maybe he take the best out of two worlds, because he can say, oh, Mike, I have this idea. I like this. Yeah, we make this. You give me a short package, what you and Jan maybe talk about hours and hours. I tell him about 10 minutes. Yeah, let's go. But on the other side, he don't have to read contracts, speak hours and hours with lawyers, or have personal problems. Like we said, people are people, and people make a lot of problems. So he can, decide. Today, I'm a progger and go into my project that is not announced. I hope we can announce it on the Gamescom this year. But if he said, oh, I have any bad feelings or some interest about my whole company, Mike is just one door away, so I can talk to him. And so no pressure, no bad feelings, but also anytime you want to decide something else,
Or he can even go on a vacation if he feels like it's time
like
to go
this.
there.
Yeah, I said, okay, go on vacation. I said, okay, it's your company. I trust you, Mike. If
Thanks
there's
a
any
lot.
problem for me.
As we run out. As we run out of time, thanks a lot for you being all here. Thanks a lot for taking time to give us all the answers, share a bit of your strategy and everything. When is NetAttack coming out? Is there a date already?
Is it official, the release date?
No, okay. Not asking, but people can wishlist it already on Steam.
They can play the demo, and they can leave a review for the demo if they like it. Also, if they don't like it, we read that feedback and we consider it for sure.
Okay, do all that. Download the game, the demo, play the demo, leave feedback, give feedback. Thanks a lot for being with us. Thanks a lot, MediaNet, for giving us the stage. Thanks a lot to the audience for being with us. And hopefully we see each other soon someday. And meanwhile, all the best for all of you and the studio. That's it from my side. Thanks a lot. And final crazy waving and goodbye. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, André. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Was a pleasure.